the House has passed the Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan aid package, basically. And when Mike Johnson, as Speaker of the House, basically voted to avert a government shutdown a few months ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene had filed a motion to vacate him, which is what happened with Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy was successfully vacated, led by Matt Gaetz and Nancy Mace and some others. But Marjorie Taylor Greene did this in retaliation for basically him doing any budget deal with the Democratic Senate and the Democratic president. He was punished for governing, but it's this kind of delayed punishment that's been hanging over Mike Johnson's head, and she's been extraordinarily basically dogmatic in her opposition to Ukraine funding. That's a Democratic priority. The Ukraine funding in the House passed with every single Democratic vote, so she is standing in opposition to it. But when she filed that motion to vacate Mike Johnson, she did not prioritize it. So there's still a question as to whether they're going to be able to do it or if they'll move forward with it. She has this looming threat. And she went on Maria Bartiromo's show on Sunday to expand on what she might do next as it relates to Mike Johnson's speakership.
Welcome back, and I am back with Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, Congresswoman, you wanted Mike Johnson out. What is your alternative plan?
Our plan is this: we have to give the American people a reason to trust us and fight for us. The American people are supporting President Trump to be the next president of the United States because they've seen him in action. He fought against the Democrat agenda. He put America first. They desperately want him to lead this country again because they trust him and they know he will do that. Mike Johnson has betrayed America. He's betrayed Republican voters. Under his leadership, he's passed the Democrat agenda, passed the Biden administration's policies, and fully funded them. We're going to fight in Congress to do everything we can to stop this type of uniparty leadership. Mike Johnson's speakership is over. He needs to do the right thing to resign and allow us to move forward in a controlled process. Yeah. If he doesn't do so, he will be vacated.
Well, with all due respect, you didn't give me a plan for the speaker's role. And again, does this mean you are going to file that motion at some point?
It's coming regardless of what Mike Johnson decides to do. And we have 3 more Republicans joining us from special elections coming up very soon. So people need to know this can happen.
Playing her off. That's hilarious. So the problem with Marge's plan here is that you have Democrats like even Ro Khanna coming out saying that he might vote no on a motion to vacate, which, like, by the way, I don't agree with. I think the Democrats should be, standing in opposition to any effort to save the Republicans from themselves. I mean, let them fight. Let them vacate another speaker and see what happens, especially ahead of an election where they're not going to get anything done regardless. I mean, they're killing anything because it appears like it's a win for Biden. But I've lost that argument, I guess, because you have even progressive representatives saying that they'll save him because he put Ukraine funding through. Regardless, like, I don't even know what this is. It is what is pissing off a lot of Republicans, which is what it was for Nancy Mace. It's an opportunity to get on camera. Matt Gaetz is an opportunity to get on camera, and a way to look tough to the Republican base when there's really no avenue that Mike Johnson could take that would satisfy them. Because they want to shut the government down and they want all these budget cuts, which would, like, the president is a Democrat. He's a right-wing Democrat, but he's still a Democrat. The Senate is controlled by Democrats. You can't just magically get what you want. There are practical realities at play. You can't just get whatever you want because you want it. But I mean, that's a toddler's mentality, and that kind of fits neatly into what we know about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Although toddlers are much less racist and anti-Semitic, I got to be honest with you.
Yeah. Also, can she get some new AirPods? Those microphones are trash.
I know, it's odd because she also went on Steve Bannon's show to talk about it. Steve Bannon here, this is him speaking about how the Democrats should, how the Republicans should be voting for a motion to vacate. She was on his show as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene is close with the white supremacist wing of the party here, led by Bannon. These are his thoughts on I guess this is just Bannon. This is separate from her other interview with him. These are Bannon's thoughts on Mike Johnson.
So they want to throw out the current Speaker of the House. It's a terrible idea. I'm working with a group of members to change the rules so that they can't get that done, so that one knucklehead can't put the whole House into disarray by forcing another Speaker vote. We've got real problems. We have a southern border in crisis. We're $34 trillion in debt, and America needs to be projecting strength abroad. We should focus on that instead of these D.C. power games.
Rhino.
Okay, there's a lot of consternation in the chat, and we think there should be consternation, and there should be anger. I 100% agree with that. And people are saying, what can we do? I'll tell you what you can do about it. It's very simple. You see that guy right there, Dusty Johnson from South Dakota? He's the problem. Not the sole problem, but he's part of the problem. These guys are going to get their votes today, and these people and Dusty Johnson, the 34 trillion deaths on the bridge, you haven't done anything about it, bro. You have backed the establishment on everything. And this is in South Dakota. The last time I looked at South Dakota, a MAGA state. Let's replay that. Because what this geek, and just look at that, you'll see that he's the personification of leadership. And this is the problem.
Just like to pause it 1 second on Steve Bannon judging somebody by their looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to reflect on that. Look, Dusty Johnson, he right from South Dakota.
He is a geek, sure.
He is a geek, but he's basically judging him, I guess, by being of a slender figure. But I don't know. I mean, is he a geek in a I don't know, a 200-meter sprint race? Steve Bannon, you might have some trouble there.
I mean, he hasn't dissolved any bodies in acid in a hot tub, so maybe he's not as cool as some other people. But if that guy said like Trump is the God King and there are hordes of Chinese people coming across the border, then Steve Bannon wouldn't be calling him a geek.
No. It's funny to hear a Republican basically argue for a pre-Kevin McCarthy reality. The reason they're in this situation is because Kevin McCarthy was so, and that's why I find his ouster honestly just so delicious. He's resigning from Congress now because of it. He made a deal with the devil to get into power. And not the real devil, just to not freak out any of the people listening. A metaphorical deal with the devil, where basically he agreed with this far right far right element of his party, the attention-seeking element of his party. It's probably a better way to refer to it. He agreed that, okay, I'll put this trigger in place where if there's anything that you disagree with me on, you can file a motion to vacate, and if you get enough votes, you can remove me from power. And most Republicans, I think, with that slim of a majority, and Pelosi didn't agree to it when she had a slimmer majority before that, by the way, wouldn't have said, this is the deal I'll do because it's just way too risky. But Kevin McCarthy is one of the biggest careerists in the Republican Party, and he agreed to it, and he made his own bed and got stabbed in the back. And what do you know? He basically brandished the knife and gave it to those 8 Republicans who ended up ousting him. Now that knife is still around, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding it. It's just like, to continue this bad analogy, Mike Johnson has armor on because the Democrats made it for him. Keep going.
This is in South Dakota. The last time I looked at South Dakota, a MAGA state. Let's replay that. Because what this geek, and just look at that, you'll see that he's the personification of leadership. And this is the problem. Most of those guys up there are like this guy. That's the problem. You want to start with the problem? You got 2 things. You got to back President Trump. And President Trump's not perfect, but President Trump, is 9 billion times better than any alternative.
That sounds close to
We got to get him back in the White House and have his back, but also you got to start changing these guys out. And this is in MAGA states. If you look at the most MAGA districts in my beloved South, most of the establishment, the cardinals on the appropriations, the establishments, the guys like Womack are all from those districts. This is not about close districts like Lawler and these guys in New York. I'm talking about MAGA red, Trump red districts represented by uniparty members. And then you got places like, in Montana, in South Dakota, places like this throughout the country where you have this beauty, right? And he's going to sit there and give you all the happy talk. He's not going to really come in and vote hard on hard nose with continuing to burying us, or to take the hard votes you need to take to say, no, we have to project strength. What does this guy know about strength? We have to project
doesn't say
strength.
anything.
He says hardly.
A hard nose, we have to be strong. As opposed to like, hey, let's be weak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's he's just insulting this guy's general appearance.
He just hates this guy like wears glasses.
I know, right,
He's
right.
just like, this guy's a nerd, and I would have shoved him in a locker.
He's from South Dakota, but not the real South that I love.
And his blood pressure's probably normal too.
He's on way less drugs than I am. And it's weird.
I mean, his number one drug comes out of a bottle, but where is he? Do you know where he shoots this? Because it looks like he's in Palm Springs or
Right, it must be Florida.
God forbid he be in liberal California. Anyway, though, that's that's Bannon's take on all of this, and Trump would be 9 billion times better.
He's not perfect, but he's just 9 billion times better than anyone else. It's like, well, what does perfect mean at that point?
Right. He's not perfect, but he's basically Jesus Christ. So,
By the way, I'm perfect.
yeah, right. Got that wrong, Steve. Let's take another call here.